Okay, let's look on a very nice animation that talks about two policies for cache. Let's call it two policies for cache management: the exclusive cache policy and the inclusive cache policy. Now, cache is the fastest memory that is closest to the CPU. There are levels to the cache. There is the L1 cache and there is the L2 cache, and sometimes there is also L3 cache. Now, L1 is the one that is closest to the CPU. It's the fastest cache, but also the smallest cache. You can store the least amount of data compared to all other levels of cache, but it's the fastest one and closest to the CPU. The L2 cache, as you can expect, is slower but bigger and more far away from the CPU. And then sometimes we have L3 cache, again, slower and bigger than L2. And then there is the main memory, the RAM. And there is the secondary memory, the SSD and hard drive and everything. Now, the question when you're talking about exclusive cache and exclusive cache is how data will be stored in the cache. Or more precisely, will every cache level have unique data, or the levels will share the data with each other, copies of the data with each other? Now, exclusive cache policy says that each level of cache will have its unique data without copies, namely, all the data that is in L1 will be in L1 and in L1 only. You won't find any piece of data that is in L1 also in L2 and vice versa. So every data in every level is unique, totally unique. Of course, the main advantage is that it's very efficient in terms of memory utilization. You don't have any copies, so everything is utilized. No extra data that is you also already have a copy of this. So it's very memory efficient. But in order to know what data you have in the cache, you need to check on each cache what data you have. You cannot, for example, just check the slowest and biggest cache and know what you have on all the other cache. This is the disadvantage. Okay, so if you are looking at the animation, you see that uh, you have different data in different caches. Now, when we are moving to inclusive cache, it says exactly the opposite. It says that the levels of cache share data between them. Namely, everything that you can find in L1 cache in terms of data will also be in L2 cache. Of course, L2 cache is bigger and uh, is, is a bigger cache. It will have the cache in L1, but also more data. So in inclusive cache policy, everything that is in L1 will also be in L2, and L2 will have more of this. So if another processor wants to know what data I have in the cache, it can just very simply look at the biggest cache and search for the data, and all you find there will also be in the smaller cache. So inclusive cache said that L2 holds a copy of all data in L1. This is simpler checking for data, cache coherency. And exclusive cache that the data is held in either L1 or L2, but never both. This maximizes total cache capacity. And if we run the inclusive cache animation, you see that the data is spread and L2 holds a copy of all data from L1. Sometimes we have L3, so L3 will have all the data from L2, which includes the data from L1. So this is the difference between inclusive cache and inclusive cache policies. Thank you very much. If there are any mistakes or corrections, please tell me, and that's it for now.